Hi, Srileka. Happy evening to you as well.
Happy evening.
And to all the listeners.
Yeah, and happy to see many listeners also joined live with us. So please stay tuned to us. If you have any question, you can directly drop your questions and the comments in the DC Live Google Meet chat box or in the DC Live chat box also who are listening. Yes. So Rudra, over to you. Tell us about the little bit brief about the show with selling the name of the show too.
Great. Thanks for having me here, Srileka. It's always wonderful to be on DC Live. Hi, people. Hi, listeners. I'm your RJ Rudra for this evening show on DC Live. Stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we share, and we are on air. Well, the brainchild of the enthusiastic retouch team aimed to transform traditional learning into an engaging auditory experience. So we began our journey with our flagship show, The Grammatist, on a pleasant evening on Monday, the 5th of May. And that was a great experience. Now, with this excitement, I am here to launch the second show from Detouch, which is called The Kwik Brain, the Minimalist, which will be aired every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. I repeat, it's called The Kwik Brain, the Minimalist, which will be aired every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. While this show is for our listeners to optimize their learning techniques in the fast-paced world, I'll be sharing bite-sized episodes packed with strategies for improving memory, rapid learning, mental health tips, drawing from the latest findings in learning and development and neuroscience. So now, if the listeners are asking, what is this show for? This show targets our listeners to develop learning habits. Today on the show, I'm going to be talking about learning styles and types of intelligence. Anyone who has a question, please drop in your questions on the chat box on DC Live, and I'll be able to pick that and answer. And if there are many requests for comments, questions, and anything that to discuss, if you're not able to cover on this particular episode, we would love to do that on the next episode of this show, which is Kwik Brain, the Minimalist. You're on air. Stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we share, and we are on air. Great. Now, let's talk about types of intelligence. All of you, or including myself, have always wondered, what's the best way to learn? And we have also had this experience while we sit in a class. I listen to a class and I learn. I go back home, write a piece of that notes and I learn. I look at something written on the board, I'll be able to learn. I will also listen to music while I read and I'll be able to learn. I do something, then I learn. There must be a logic in everything I learn. I learn with people, sit in a group, and then I learn. I sit alone under a tree, wherever it is, and then I learn for myself. That's one way of learning. Now, there could be people who are utilizing all of these styles to learn, which is called the combination learning. Now, which is the right way of learning and why do I learn in this method is what we're going to talk about today. And this has a theory behind it. This has a science behind it. And there's a lot of work and research that has gone through this styles of learning. Now, I repeat, one of them is a verbal learner who listens and utilizes speech and especially when someone talks or explains, or when they talk, they will be able to learn. That's called verbal learning. Visual learner. A visual learner is one you prefer to use pictures, diagrams, images, spatial understanding to help you learn. That is a visual learner. A musical or an auditory learner. You prefer using sounds or music or even rhythms to help you learn. Now, that is the reason if you look at it at school, at the very tender age, when we get into the play schools, people teach those rhymes with a tune to us. Baba Black Sheep was taught to us with a tune. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star was taught to us with a tune. And all of the rhymes were taught to us with a tune. That is what is musical auditory learning. Now, physical and kinesthetic, you use your hands, you use your body and sense of touch to help you learn. You might act things out. That is what is kinesthetic or physical learning. Now, there's always logical, mathematical learning. Learning is easier for you if you use logic. But the only place you do not use logic is in relationships. People don't use that. That's beyond logic. All right. Reasoning, system, and sequences. Social learning is you like to learn new things as a part of a group. Explaining your understanding to a group helps you to learn within a group. So group studies, all of us have done that, right? So that's kind of a that's a vibe to learn together. You sit together, someone reads it out loud, and you have fun while reading, and that is a social learning style. A solitary is I walk up to my terrace, I walk up to my garden, I sit under the tree, and I just pull the book out and I study, and I prefer my own company when learning. And the combination is your learning style is a combination of two or more of these styles. Which one is the right way? Why do I learn like this? Is something that we will go ahead and understand in a few minutes from now. Before I go further, I would want to check with Srilekha if we have had any questions or comments in the chat box that we need to take even before we go to the next section. Srilekha.
Yeah, hi Rudra. So far I haven't received any comment.
Okay.
Or any question. Anybody have any doubt? Yarkar eda kelvikal irka? Team who have joined live with us. Okay. No, Rudra, we can continue there. Yes.
Great. So people, I always encourage that you actively participate. I understand this is a radio that you're listening in, you're at work, you're at different centers. We could be at VPM, we could be at Kollu, we could be at TN Palayam, we could be in the Chennai office, we could be in the Kapu center, or people working across the globe remotely, or in the Delhi office, that's the Gurgaon office. I'm very happy to take questions through the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to help you understand. You can also reach me through an email. You can also reach me through Srilekha if you have any questions. It's not that I want to just talk here and go back. Learning is always continuous, is what I greatly believe in. Great. Now, we understood what are the different styles of learning. Now, let's understand the theory behind it, or let's try to understand why do we learn like that. So all of us have or must been told this, right? Either in reference to us or either in reference to someone else. That's a very intelligent choice. You're very intelligent. That boy is the most intelligent boy in the class. Girls are always intelligent because they outscore when it comes to academics, learning, and most of the academic tasks. If you look at it, the girls always outperform in those academic examinations. So we call them, okay, they're good at studies, they're learning great and all of that. So now, have you ever thought about why does intelligence have a specific type? The reason being, there are many types of intelligences that exist in a person. Within oneself, there are many types of intelligences. Before that, I just want to step back. Maybe drop it in your chat box, raise your hands wherever you are, acknowledge it by nodding your head. But many of you must have felt that, why do I have to study mathematics in school? Why maths? Why do I have to do that? Srilekha, have you ever thought so?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. So even I thought the same sometimes for science also.
For science also?
Sometimes, yeah. When
it is related to mathematics, right? Possibly.
Yes, but many times maths, yes.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, I get that. Right. So I get that. So the reason for that is because that is the way you want to learn, right? So there's a way you learn mathematics. The mathematics, a mathematical way of learning is something that is not your type of intelligence. That doesn't make you any less. That doesn't make you any less. I really cannot understand music, but I appreciate good music. But then if you ask me to, recognize something in that scale A, scale E, scale G, chord B, I'm like, no, that's not something that I know of. All right. So that's the type of intelligence. Okay. Now, How many types of intelligence do you think we have? Okay, we have about 9 types of intelligence. I repeat, 9 types of intelligence. Let me quickly list them.
Want to know about this, Rudra? There are 9 types of intelligence, is it?
Yes.
Okay, is it something like what you're going to try is that we will fall into any of these categories of intelligence or something like that? Just trying to guess.
Understand. See, it's our learning. Our
Okay.
learning is always inclined to how do we want to learn? How do
Okay.
we want to learn the learning styles I spoke about earlier? Depends on what is the type of intelligence that you have.
Okay.
You naturally have, but you can acquire it. That's a different method. I'll be talking about it later. Okay.
Got
But
it.
now, why do we have this inclination is where I want to start. I want to start this particular show with this because this is what will form the basis of learning. Okay. Yeah. So let me quickly list them. Naturalist, musical, logical, mathematical, existential, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, linguistic, intrapersonal, spatial. That's the list, Rileka, that we have. Listeners, that's the list. The 9 types of intelligence. One of them is naturalist now. We'll talk about each of them. Naturalist is understanding living things and reading nature. Have you ever felt that, you know what, there are people in your group of friends, there are people in your team who always talk about life, living things, nature, and they always connect to the nature. Then when the other person is, that's a tree, that's a plant, that's a garden. So what about it? But the other person is, that's a tree, that's the garden. I get to connect with nature. I feel nice about it because that person is a naturalist and they are able to resonate and understand life and nature better than anybody else. They are having naturalist intelligence. The next one is musical, which is about discerning sounds, their pitch, tone, rhythmic, timbre. Have you ever felt when someone speaks to you, it's like so nice and it is like listening to a good song. Have you ever told that to someone? Srileka, you must have. You felt
Yes.
that.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So many times I have experienced that in DC Live. So few of the RJs when they talk, right, I just want to say, I don't mind of saying the names. So one is from Kapu, Bindu, and many RJs from Kollu and TN Palyam. The way they do the show, right, I'll tell them your voice is good, why don't you sing? So they feel like, no, ma'am. Like, many times. DC Live platform has given me that experience.
That's actually what is about musical.
But never people tell me to sing. I'm sure about it.
I think they should have a little bit of more musical intelligence to do that, Srileka.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. Okay. And on a funny way, as people say in Tamil, unukku suttu pottalam paattu varadu. Okay.
Agree.
So I think probably the only thing that my mom has ever asked me, right? My mom is like, please do not sing. I know, kakaiki tan kunji pon kunji, but you don't sing, is what she's told me, right? So that's how bad it is when I do that. Okay. Now let's get on to the next type. We have learned about 2, naturalist and musical. The next one is logical, mathematical, quantifying things, making hypotheses and proving them. All right. So that's about logical and mathematical, right? And then existential, tackling the questions of why we live and why we die. And what is life? What happens in between? You see this young kids sometimes talking about all of these, they talk about life, sense of life, meaning of life, Atma, Paramatma, Nirakara, and all of that, right? So that is existential intelligence. And you're surprised when you look at those young kids talking about all of these things. That is because of they have that intelligence in them naturally, which is called existential intelligence. Now,
maybe we can interlink that topics like people nowadays talk about the universe, aura, which behind covering something like that. Rudra?
That is a part of it. And
Okay.
there's an extended intelligence to it. I'll talk about it in a bit, 4th one from now. Okay.
Okay.
but it's a part of it. When people talk about aura, life, and existence, and people around, and all of these, the karmic and all of that, right? So vibrations and all of that is your existential intelligence. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks to the social media, I do not want to brand anybody, but then thanks to the social media, we have a lot of all of these being consumed by us, right? Today, where they say that, pick this, do that. You want to have money in your wallet, you do this. You want to have money in your drawer, do this. So that's a lot of existential knowledge available. Now, the next one is very, very important. Interpersonal. What is interpersonal? Sensing people's feelings and motives. Sensing people's feelings and motives. That is what is interpersonal. Okay. You feel very comforted when you're with someone, right? When you have a very bad day at work, you want to talk to someone, and that someone is really good with interpersonal intelligence, and that is what is them being sensible to people's feelings and motives. They recognize that they help the other person manifesting it. That is what is interpersonal intelligence. Now, another one is bodily kinesthetic. Have you ever heard about hand, mind, and body movements, right? You got to be good in sport if you have a good eye-hand body coordination. That is called bodily kinesthetic. Your movements, you doing certain things, and your ability to do something which involves activities is when you have bodily kinesthetic. Next one is linguistic. Like, people learn many languages, and also they are extremely talented in the language. Shashi Tharoor, if you take an example, the words that he expresses with and the words that he speaks with are something which is beyond a normal conversation that one could have. So that is being linguistic. And there are people who learn multiple languages, right? So I can speak many languages. I can speak up to 5 to 6 languages. So that is because of a linguistic intelligence. Now, intrapersonal, a person you feel that they take care of themselves, they manage themselves well, they understand themselves, what they feel and what they want. It's not about being to themselves, no, not that, but then they know what they want. They're clear about what they need. That is called understanding yourself and what you feel and what you want. It's called intrapersonal. So 2 different words. One is interpersonal, it's about the others. Intrapersonal, it is about within yourself. Now, this is what I was talking about. And extended, you can call it by terms and existential. It's called spatial, visualizing the world in three dimensions, in 3D views. Now, not all of them can understand, like what Sri Lekha was just talking about, the physics and astronomy. Now, not everybody can conceptualize what's a Milky Way. Not everybody can conceptualize what's beyond the universe. So those are spatial, visualizing the world in 3D and understanding it. And all of these 9 intelligences put together makes a person. It can be in different combinations. It can be that one is born with this, which is called congenital, or at birth that you have. Something can be acquired by practice. So you are not great at math, but then by practice and by learning easy ways and hacks, you developed and you developed that intelligence into you. And this developing this intelligence is what is leading to the ways you learn, the learning styles, either verbal, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, learning in a group. Everything put together is what is your learning style. Now, does it make sense? Why do we learn in a particular way? Sri Lekha, any comments from the box or from you?
No, nothing from. I haven't received any comment. Yeah, I'm just thinking like which intelligence I fall into it like.
Don't really think about it. All of us are intelligence. That's my claim. All right. So none of us.
I'm just thinking, Rudra, when you talk about this 9 categories, right? I mean, identifying which category we fall into it. Can they improve the skill, or can they, with this thing, improve the one's individual capability? That's what will be my question.
I am just getting to it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So now here's what it is. There's no right way of learning. there's no right intelligence. All right. All of us may have everything. All of us may have few. All of us may have, many. But that's why, someone are great in few kind of few professions, right? Someone can be great, and they say that, right? So this is not my passion. Going back to Three Idiots or the movie Nanban in Tamil, right? So an engineer wanting to be a wildlife photographer, and that's how it has become, right? Most of the engineers are in Kodambakam making movies right now. Okay, so that's a passion that they develop or they have it in them. Now, there's no right intelligence, or there is no nothing that makes it special about someone. It's just that the way one manifests, the one that you intend to develop, you are what you want to be. This is where you ensure that you are grooming one side of yours, then you become that. But at the same time, you definitely have others in you, probably in a dormant state. It's just that you need to identify that and help that come to the forefront, and then you will be able to go ahead and make sure you develop working on those areas as well. So it depends on what you want to do at this point of time. It also depends on the fact that is this the need of the hour for yourself, number one, and how do you develop? As I always say, Rome was not built in a day. You want to develop learning maths, people who really find algebra, trigonometry, and especially because I know people who hate math are able to manage with arithmetic, but then they really don't like x plus y. All right, so that's what happens. And the sine thetas and the cos thetas are something that they really do not enjoy. But then you find a reason for that. You have a passion for it, and you tune your mind to do that. And most importantly is repeated exposure. When I mean repeated exposure, keep repeating those things. That is what will make you proficient with that. That's what will make you, at some point of time, I felt really that this is not my job, but then you're enjoying your job right now. Why does that happen? Because you have evolved over time, number one. Number two, you have always ensured that you kept your, feeding your brain with that. That is why you have become that. So all of it put together, it is a great experience of learning. And I'll give you another tip here. As an adult, you stop forgetting 20 minutes from when you have learned a thing. I repeat, if you have learned a new thing today at 6 o'clock, from 6:20, you'll start forgetting that. That's why constant reiteration, constant repetitive exposure to that knowledge is very important. So you learn a thing between 6 to 6:20 today, it will start depleting from 6:21 onwards. So tomorrow at the same time, make it a habit, make it a practice to go back to that subject. Revise is what we call, right? Revision. Repeat yourself with what you learn. Make notes of your key points. Keep that with you handy. Nowadays, with convenience, the handheld devices, your mobile phones, allows you to keep notes on them. Just go back the key points. And when you repeat it, it is retained in your brain. When it gets retained, that is when you move from one silo to another silo, that you are right now moving in the right direction of learning. So that's the tip that I had for the day. And we will be having many more such topics that help you learn on the show. Kwik Brain, the Minimalists. From here on, I'm going to be talking about learning. How do you learn? Why do you learn this way? What are those things that we learn in this rapid time that we have in the evolving tech age? How do I learn quickly with the minimal time that I have? And this will be aired every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Do not miss tuning in. That's all I had for this evening. I'm more than happy to take questions through the chat box, even if it is offline when I'm not here. I'll be more than glad to take them through Srileka, and then I will be able to prepare and come back to you guys with those answers. Now, that's all I had for the show. As I said, until I meet you again, This is RJ Rudra signing off from Kwik Brain, the Minimalists on DC Live. Stay tuned to DC Live. We care, we share, and we are on air. Thank you.
Thanks, Rudra. It was a wonderful show. So many listeners we have live from Kollu as well as from Virupuram and other centers who might be listening. So team, you want to share any comment or any questions to Rudra or want to know anything in specifically? You can be open. யாருக்காவது ஏதாவது சொல்லணுங்களா? No? Saranya? Okay, fine. So thanks, Rudra. Thank you, listeners, for joining live. So again, we'll be back on Monday, 5:30. Grammatic's show by Rudra again. Don't miss the show every Monday and Thursday at 5:30 on DC Live. Definitely, you'll have some takeaway from English and also to improve yourself professionally as well as in the personal. So don't miss out the show. And also, we have one more segment every Thursday at 4 p.m. Thursday with Sindhu, where we are introducing one tool every week. So don't miss out these shows also. And with the end of the segment, I want to give you one more quick update. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., Team Vikram is going to launch HR chat box. So we're going to launch. So join live and try to know what is that. So which is going to be open for everyone to know about detail. That is an first AI assistant which was done by Vikram team, and it's going to be launched tomorrow at 3 p.m. Don't miss out that. Okay. So thank you all for joining this show, and we'll meet again tomorrow at 3 p.m. on live. Stay tuned to DC Live for more updates, what's happening in DC. Thank you, listeners. DC Live, we care, we share, and we are on air.